Making sure everything is okay. Oh, 3 people in the lobby. Harry, how we doing? Crazy hair day again. Hi, Adrian. Just going to give it a few more minutes till 6 o'clock when we officially start. Let some more people in. It's good to see a few numbers coming in, which is good. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the live chat. Due to start at 6 o'clock. Topic today is I'm good, Gary. I'm good. How's things with you? You coping with the isolation, not all the attention that you usually love. 7 people in. If you're on, please use the chat. Say hello. Make yourself known. Feel free to ask some questions. We'll cover. Reckon this probably lasts maybe half an hour, although I rambled on for about an hour last time. So we'll see how it goes. Topic tonight is whether electric cars have had their day with the current situation, or what's next. One topic tonight rather than many. Gary, so the topic is basically with the COVID-19 situation. Electric cars, have they really kind of peaked before they're getting started? Really, manufacturing has come to a grinding halt, apart from, lo and behold, China. What does that look like afterwards? Who will survive this? And just a general chat around that, and then maybe a little bit of Q&A again at the end. We'll see how things go, see how long this goes on for. I've only picked one particular topic today. We'll see how that goes as well. If anyone on here that doesn't follow me on Twitter or on the channel, take this time now to follow me on the EV side on Twitter. Follow me on this channel. Don't forget to click the subscribe and bell button if you don't already. Thanks everyone for joining so far. Great to see a couple of you here. 6 people apparently joined, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. Don't forget to give the thumbs up and stuff like that if you enjoy this. I'm trying to do these once a week, mainly a bit for my own sanity as much as anything else. And it's a bit difficult, as we've got at the moment, to try and get out and actually do something practical. Although I'm trying to figure some things around the i3 that I can do within a private car park. So if anyone's got any ideas out there, put some comments below. Tweet me if there's anything that you'd like to see around the i3 or a video around the i3. My focus around that is quite limited. There'll be some e-skate stuff in there because that's stuff that I can still do, again, limited within the confines of where I live. So there's a few bits and pieces coming. I'm looking to plan a few other videos. Oh, Gary's going for a wine. Yeah, you definitely need a wine for this. If nothing else, get drunk and drink while I drone on for half an hour. Gary, I think you generally need a wine most of the time anyway, so I won't worry too much about that. How are you, Adrian? It's good to see you on the chat. Hopefully there'll be a few more people join, but hey, if they do, great. If they don't, that's not a problem. So we're about to get started into the meat and potato of the subject. Hopefully you should hear me okay this week. We had a few technical issues to try and work through last time, but I think we're good. Camera seems to be reasonably good this week as well. I've chosen a lower, I suppose, earlier time so I get a little bit of better light until we get some decent light in this room. So 6 o'clock, we might as well get cracking. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining my channel and this live hangout. I've got a featured topic this week that I wanted to chat about, and basically during this COVID-19 craziness, hence the mad hair and not being able to shave and all the rest of it at the moment. It got me thinking around, obviously, all the car companies across the world really, within a matter of a day or a couple of weeks at least, shut down production across the world. No one was making cars, although I know Tesla was making cars a little bit later. But it got me thinking about taking out all the COVID-19 stuff out of it. The planet shut down. The air is a lot better. You know, you can tell by all the images from the above the planet how well the air is, how the air quality is a lot better. You know how things are just generally like really good. To take the positives out of this really horrible situation, I'm not belittling that at all, but there's some good stuff that's come out of it from the environmental side of things and cleaner air. My daughter suffers from asthma, and you know she's breathing easier and things like that. There's less um, carbon monoxide. There's less pollution. There's all this stuff. You know, you only got to see pictures around the world of empty streets and things like that, which I kind of want to see it to the point where we have those cities kind of stay as much as they can like that. And it kind of got me just thinking about car manufacturing in general. So with Tesla, I think stopped a little bit into the virus in the States, but obviously the States was a little bit different in terms of how they've approached this. And it meant that basically car manufacturers across the world weren't producing cars anymore. You know, whether it was diesel, petrol, electric, hybrid, whatever it may be, they're just not producing the cars at the moment. So it got me thinking in terms of how that's going to affect not just electric cars, but normal cars as well, and transport in general. Now, I think there was a small survey carried out by a group of people, and it was advertised on a few websites. I can't remember the one, but they basically, I think they went across like 200 people, and they said apparently out of those 200 people, 45% of this situation has actually made them absolutely go electric because they've seen the benefits of the clean air and everything else. Another percentage of that 200 people was basically people that are now more likely to think about going electric, which is obviously a good thing. Now, I'm a firm believer, like probably many people, is that electric cars aren't the be and the end all. They don't solve everything. They're not going to solve all the environmental problems, but they're one of the many steps that we need to take. And basically, we had all of these car manufacturers, even in China to a degree, that had stopped. You had companies, so let's take Tesla for instance. They've been making electric cars for some time, Nissan as well, and they've produced those alongside diesel and petrol. And there's a couple of situations. One is that those have probably been produced to a certain point and just stopped. Same with other car manufacturers. And then you had car manufacturers that basically were trying to do their electric car or in the process of making their electric cars. There was lots of announcements, certainly end of last year for this year, where electric cars were going to come out in 2020, and you know we're going to have this abundance of new cars. Now, obviously, all this COVID-19 stuff has put that to a screeching halt, and it kind of got me thinking about who's actually going to survive this. Now, some companies will survive this more than others, and this is a big financial impact across the planet. They were already diesel and petrol manufacturers were already on a massive kind of decline on sales, which obviously must have hit their pocket really hard, and hence the reason why loads and loads of them will actually looking to go electric and invest in the electric side whilst running their diesel and petrol, and probably down a little bit with the ban coming up. But I'm not sure how many of those will actually survive. You know, if you think you've got Tesla that will ultimately, I think, will survive anyway, just because their investment in electric cars They've kept the production of them pretty fluid. They've now obviously got the Singapore, I think it is, or China, um, manufacturing plant for Model 3s and eventually Model Ys, and battery capacities out there. And they're going to be producing a lot of the cars. Now, obviously, with China coming out of this COVID-19 kind of earlier, guarantee their manufacturing is back on track. So, worst case, if the likes of American plants and things like that don't come online straight away, the Chinese, in terms of their company, is going to come online first. So it was probably a quite a smart move of Tesla to do that. Now, I love Teslas, but I'm not a Tesla fanboy in the true sense of the word. And basically, what got me thinking is that that's one of many car companies, but they are one technology company, as I always call them, that will likely survive. You've got VW that was obviously trying to push its ID3 out this year. Now that looks like it's being delayed until at least early to late summer, and that's as long as they don't get the other issues that they have had in place. But obviously they've been stockpiling cars as they're producing them, so there's going to be a limited number of those run, and then they'll have had to have stopped, and they're going to have to catch up. Now I know there's quite a big demand for that, but I can see those being pushed out as well. And then one of the other ones, I think I had a chat, an apologies last time. I don't know who that was, but last time it was um, a Vauxhall Corsa E, and they'd ordered it, but actually that Corsa E had now been delayed because of all this, because obviously not only manufacturing has stopped, but also car showrooms are not open and salespeople aren't really kind of there. And it's like this big kind of juggernaut of car manufacturers that's literally just ground to a halt. And alongside that, it's all the supply chain. So it's not just us as end users buy a shiny new device, buy a shiny new car, and things like that. There's an appreciation that you have to have of all the knock-on effects that follow behind that, all the supply chain. So anyone that builds the steel for the car, or the tires, the wheels, the brakes, supplies the parts, the electronics, they all come from an abundance of supply chain people, which have all been simultaneously affected by this COVID-19 stuff. And out the back of that, how is that going to look 2020 moving forward? Because we had not only if you think fully charged was meant to happen earlier, that's later in the year. There's likely to be car shows that was meant to happen later in the year, so they're not going to get that advertising out. Now a lot of these companies will rely on digital advertising like YouTube and Facebook and all this sort of stuff to push the car, but actually most people in the general public still like to try a car. And actually I've spoken to many of you on here and many other people that an electric car, amongst normal cars, you will still would like to try, but electric cars even more so. The bit that really gets people into electric cars fully is literally that, getting them into an electric car and getting them to try and notice the difference and notice what they can do. So there's a big stumbling block, not just in the manufacturing, but also being able to demo these cars and show these cars to people. Now there are some people that will just buy the cars or pre-order the cars on what they've seen online and things like that. But there is a vast majority of people that actually want to go and try these cars out and want to actually drive them before they buy them. It's a big investment. And looking at the other car manufacturers that are coming along, the likes of Ford and likes of Fiat and some of the probably name brands, even Audi and places like that, this has had a massive financial impact in their kind of, I suppose, regular business, which is diesel and petrol, and it still isn't much as what people don't like. And then eventually that's going to have a massive impact on electric, and it may well, in my opinion, delay things. But I'm hoping that the consumer demand for it will change to the point where uh, electric cars actually improve and increase. And I think there's an element of that where people will go, well, I've seen all this lovely clean air, I've seen what it's like for not having these cars on the road, and to have my kids being able to breathe good air and all that sort of stuff. So maybe it's time that I do go electric. So maybe that is the opportunity they need to do that. Um, so, on the comments below, what are your thoughts? Do you think, who out of all the car manufacturers that who do you think will survive? Do you think they will all survive? Do you think we'll ultimately, unfortunately, lose some of the legacy companies, perhaps? Are there any of the newer companies that have brought out some of the new electric cars recently? How do you think they'll be affected? You've got some really good names that have come out. The Kona Electric, the e-Niro, the Audi e-tron, um, BMW, all these sort of things. They've all got either new cars out or new cars meant to be coming out. There's going to be an impact, whether that's the delay. Now, I know out of the whole grand scheme of things, buying a new car probably isn't everyone's priority list of things to do. But if you're waiting on a car, potentially that it's being made or it's being ordered and not yet made, what's that impact look like for you? Is that going to be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, next year? It's an interesting thing that just got me really thinking about it. So Gary C, should be a wake-up call for a number of legacy manufacturers. Some of them need to either die or be mortally wounded. Yeah, 100% agree. And that was kind of my thinking, really, is that I've always said that electric cars, even last year, if you weren't making one now, you're almost too late. That sounds quite harsh, but actually, there's so many good EV cars out there now, in that I think they will have at least a chance of survival in the fact that they've got a product out there and it's going to be an attractive proposition to people. Whereas the manufacturers that have either been very slow with the uptake or have only just started building them, those facilities that they need to build in, the infrastructure you need to build around them is massive, and that's not a small thing. And obviously, you need people on the ground, you need physical people, and if they can't get them in there, there's not going to be just a delay, but there's a cost implication of that. Yeah, Gary, the facility should then be used by other manufacturers. Yeah, I don't know how like that is, but yeah, I mean, to me, I think Tesla had a good example where I think they took over an old Ford manufacturer in the States, and they turned that into the Tesla factory. And I'd probably see a lot of those go that way. I'm sure manufacturers will go through a stage of uncertainty over the next year, certainly the existing or old legacy manufacturers. But this could also be a massive opportunity for them to say, right, yeah, we've got this opportunity. We know that actually the public opinion is going to hugely sway to potentially electric cars or other ridables, and we need to be prepared for that coming out of this thing. I know in terms of the UK, we've only been locked down for like 4 weeks, but actually, if this goes on for 2-3 months, things like that, these car manufacturers are going to have to have a plan, like everyone, to how we get out of this and what they're going to do to entice those consumers back, because ultimately people are going to be tightening their belts. There's lots of people, unfortunately, that have gone on furlong in terms of their work, and there's going to be less money around. And there's various other things, I think, that will impact how people buy cars now. Before, it was very much, I like the car. I don't know whether I want electric, whether I want diesel or petrol. Electric seems all right, but I don't know if it's for me. Diesel and petrol, that's kind of a known thing. I know what I'm doing with that. I just want to see what the car's like and drive it. Now, actually, the opinion may be that the electrification and what they've seen because of this situation, they've had either time to think, time to do research on YouTube channels and on the web, to look at the clean air and things like that, and actually go, maybe now is the time to change that. And maybe people's ideas about electric cars and certainly the clean energy type thing will ultimately change and move the electric car industry a lot further forward than it was. It was already gaining momentum, but I think I personally don't think of the electric car as dead. I kind of use that title because it's like, it's an uncertain time, but actually I think it's going to go in electric cars' favor because of what's happened. Gary C, but which legacy manufacturer is poised to be the first to go? it's interesting. I mean, I think maybe some of the ones that you don't often hear about, you know, Fiat has only just come out with their electric stuff. See, I don't know what they're doing, if anything. Ford, I don't think will go, but bearing in mind in the States they're only selling trucks or this EV Mustang. It's got a limited audience. Trucks in America obviously are always going to sell, but in the rest of the world, I can see their business faltering quite a bit, and that's a big company to go. But again, the industry has been pushing every other car manufacturer, legacy car manufacturer, towards electric cars, and it's only been in the last 2 years that really they've started to wake up and say, "Oh, Jesus, we need to actually make an electric car to actually be relevant anymore." Because there will be a point, whilst we're talking about all this, there will be a point actually where people will just go, "I want electric," or electric is the only thing I can actually buy. So, that's got to be the thing, and got to be the way that they go. Um, there's always a car being announced. VW. I'll pick on VW, but VW have announced so many cars. Like, they have like 20 cars, but like 2022 or something stupid like that, and they haven't even got the ID3 out yet. And I love the look of that car. It looks great, but they're already having problems, and now this is delayed. You got the Polestar coming out, which again looks phenomenal, but will be delayed. It's a brand new armor Volvo, so again, that's going to have an impact. But I think those sort of companies are starting to push their cars in a digital way and learn from Tesla, where you're pushing it, or you don't have showrooms, you push it out online. This is what the car looks like. This is a walk around and all the rest of it. They announced their electric car. That was due out, I think, this month. I was actually booked on a test drive this weekend for the electric Mini. That's been canned off. But again, that will have an impact because they physically won't be able to get cars, and people physically won't be able to test drive them and get them. Um, Manufacturing ultimately must have stopped for that. I would imagine, or at least slowed right the way down. So there's going to be a massive ramp up again, probably when this is over and towards the end. So there's always knock-on effects, and as companies like that push their manufacturing down, you know, you may see, unfortunately, the supply chain people actually reduce as well, because people are going to be falling on hard times, and if they're not getting the demand coming in from those, that could well have an impact on that, which means ultimately will have an impact on that car being produced. Um, so that was kind of my thoughts, and my kind of, I was been thinking about this as we've been going through the weeks. We're all, certainly as a YouTuber and various other people, we're all used to going to car meets, seeing new cars, or getting test drives and things like that. Um, I don't think that sort of that may go two ways. There may be things where actually, as we come out of this, that maybe I will get more test drives because they really want to get the message out, or it might go the other way where we don't get as much because they haven't got the cars, the product, and everything else. Hi Paul, thanks for joining. Things would change a lot quicker if people like Trump would wake up. Yeah, I don't think I've got enough time on this live hangout to talk about Trump. To be honest, there'll be a lot of swearing, a lot of my face would just go red and explode because the guy is just, yeah, he's ridiculous that people vote for him, and what he's done. He's 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 already tried to kind of kill off the car manufacturing and trying to get coal and crap like that back. So it's like he's living in the past, and unfortunately there's hopefully a lot of leaders now as well that take notice of the way things are and help new technology companies and new car companies come along. I'd love to see new Kickstarter, new never before seen car companies like come along. One of the ones that I'm closely following is a company called Unity, and if you haven't come across them, check out their website. It's a tiny little, I think it was a two-seater car, but it's perfect for inner cities, and actually it's a brilliant looking little car, and I can't wait to kind of get my hands on it. They're actually producing the car in near Silverstone in the UK. So that's obviously going to have take a hit, I think, and ultimately that will be pushed back. But I want to see more companies like that come out, radical ideas, different designs, a new approach, and a kind of, I haven't got the old legacy rubbish behind me to think about. I'm starting a new car company, and this is where we're going to the way we're going to go. Now that's obviously not as easy as it sounds. Tesla have have proven that they've had hard times. But ultimately, I'd love to see those sort of car companies come along and make really good use of maybe a gap in the market that is ultimately likely to appear over the next sort of 6 to 12 months. I think car companies in general will struggle. I think logistics and supply chain will struggle. It will recover, but I think there's going to be a lot of collateral damage in the process. And I'm hoping the ones that have already made the commitment to go electric or go full electric are the ones that survive. And I don't wish bad on any people that are in those industries and their jobs, because obviously that's very important. But they're car companies that the head of those car companies that are running them need to have seen a lot further than just a year in advance of what diesel and petrols that they can push out to the public. Because ultimately, and I think certainly after this, I think the public just won't want to do that anymore and won't stand for it anymore. Anyway, I mean, that's my general chat for tonight. I mean, feel free. I've kind of rambled for a bit. I've probably got sort of 3 or 5 minutes if people want to ask any sort of question, obviously within reason. A little bit of Q&A. Feel free to put some comments in there. I'll try and answer where I can. Hope everyone is keeping safe out there. It's a bit crazy. In some ways, it's kind of nice because there's no one on the streets, but other times it's just eerie as hell. I hope your families are safe out there. All my subscribers, thank you very much as well for that. I want to take a time as well to thank my Patreon supporters. They are fantastic. They support this channel for a long time, and actually I really appreciate that. And I'll reiterate again that none of the Patreon support money goes to my other habit, which appears on this channel of my e-skating as well. So if you feel like compelled to do that, there's anything from $1 up to $50. If you feel compelled to throw me $1, then please do so. If not, I really appreciate the thumbs up and the subscribe things. Share this and other videos that I do as well. That'd be fantastic. So that was it. I really thank you all for your time. If you haven't got any Q&A questions, that's okay. And until next time, I hope everyone keeps safe, and hopefully same time next week. I'll try and think up some other stuff and watch this space for some more videos in quarantine, hopefully. So I'll try and keep up some EV stuff over the next few weeks. So stay safe, see you soon, and see you again. Bye.